A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for watching. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Luima, but first are the headlines. Government cautions workers to abide by standard operating procedures in commemoration of the World Day for Safety and Health. A new bill on wealth declaration issued. Burundi begins releasing prisoners in bid to stop overcrowding. And in sports, Busoga United UPDF contest ends in Bahrain stalemate. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. The State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Honorable Nachuala Chinji, has appealed to the employers to promote occupational safety and health at work. She was addressing media on the occasion to commemorate the World Day for Safety and Health at Work at Media Center, Kampala. A reporter Kachanchu has more.
According to the International Labour Organization, every day 6,300 people die as a result of occupational accidents or related diseases. This translates into more than 2.3 million deaths per year. In a light of occupational safety and health challenges faced in Uganda and around the world, today Uganda has joined the world to commemorate the World Day for Safety and Health at Work. The State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Honorable Nachuala Chinji, has appealed to all workers to abide by the standard operating procedures issued by the Ministry of Health in order to avoid the spread of COVID-19 in the country.
Every day, 6,300 people die as a result of occupational accidents or work-related diseases. This translates into more than 2.3 million deaths per year. In addition, 317 million accidents occur on the job annually, and many of these result in extended absences from work. In light of the occupational safety and health challenges faced in Uganda today and around the world, every year on 28th April, we join the rest of the world to commemorate the World Day for Safety and Health at Work. This day is an opportunity to raise awareness and also focus on our national attention on the magnitude of the occupational safety and health problem and how to create a safe and healthy culture. As it was last year, we are commemorating the World Day for Safety and Health amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Since emerging as a global crisis in early 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic has had profound impacts everywhere.
This year's theme was anticipating repair and response to crises, invest now in a new resilient occupational safety and health system.
The lesson that will be left by the COVID-19 pandemic to occupational safety and health practitioners is that past and current information is not sufficient for workplace risk analysis, evaluation and control. For example, until December 2019, OSH risk analysis did not anticipate a disease that could spread as fast and be as devastating as COVID-19. The theme has therefore been chosen to remind occupational safety and health practitioners, employers and workers that the importance of thinking outside the box when conducting risk management is paramount. Furthermore, the theme seeks to focus attention on the need to develop strong and resilient national occupational safety and health systems in order to face the current and future crises, drawing on lessons learned from the world of work during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Minister Nachuala reminded all occupational safety practitioners, employers and workers about the importance of thinking outside the box when conducting risk assessments. TV Africa News, Kachanchu Mutabazi reporting.
The government of Uganda, through KCCA, has come up with a plan that would go beyond just repairing drainage systems and bad roads in Kampala City. This was revealed by the Minister for Kampala Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs, Honorable Betty Amongi, while at Media Center, Kampala. We have more.
Over the last years, government has undertaken huge infrastructure developments for Kampala Capital City Authority. Currently, Kampala City has a road of 2,100 kilometers, of which 642 kilometers is paved with drainage systems of 145 kilometers of major drains and 3,428 kilometers, 348 kilometers minor drains. Of these, only 714 kilometers, about 20%, are constructed drains. Addressing on the current outcry due to potholes challenges in the city, Minister for Kampala Capital City and Metropolitan Affairs, Honorable Betty Amongi, today told journalists that the government has availed funds to undertake remedial and interim measures to make roads motorable as they wait major interventions.
The state of deteriorating road network in the city arising from an old network which has outlived its design life, exhibiting potholes and age distress. Government through KCCA has come up with a plan that would go beyond just repairing to improving our city streets through a number of projects aimed at revamping the existing network and increasing the number of kilometers of tarmac roads in the city. We have a project now being funded by African Development Bank, which is supporting 69 kilometers of roads and walkways, cycling lines, drainage, and we also have a project that will start doing street lighting. Additional funding will be a source for 20,000 street lights across the country.
About 9 billion shillings has been unveiled this fourth quarter to undertake emergency road repairs.
Disappointed by improper solid waste management, that is garbage, through irresponsible dumping of garbage like polythene, plastic bottles, agricultural and trade refuse that ends up blocking the existing drainage system. Members of the public are cautioned against irresponsible garbage disposal in any form. Responsible garbage disposal is our civic duty, and if we want to live in a clean Kampala, we should now change our behavior. And as a city, we shall now start enforcing and apprehending those that litter the city. And I want to tell the public that the fine for littering when you are caught littering is now 2 million shillings. Under the new Physical Planning Act, which was amended 2020. So we are now going to start enforcement.
However, Minister Amongi expressed government disappointment by improper solid waste management through irresponsible dumping of garbage that ends up blocking the existing drainage system.
Moving on, the government of Uganda has finalized the formalization of the new bill that will enable all civil servants and other Ugandans to publish their wealth to the Inspector General of Government for inspection. This was announced by the State Minister for Ethics and Integrity, Honorable Reverend Father Simon Lukodo. Nahabwe reports.
The Leadership Code Act 2021 was passed by Parliament on 18th March 2021. It was assented to by the President Yoweri Museveni on 23rd April this year, 2021. According to the State Minister for Ethics, Honorable Simon Lukodo, the commencement of this act by 23rd July 2021, the public officers have to submit declarations of their income, assets and liabilities to the Inspector General of Government.
It will ensure that all public officers should know that within 3 months from the commencement of this act, that is by 23rd July 2021, they have to submit declarations of their income, assets, liabilities to the Inspector General of Government. Public officers, I want to indicate this very clearly, is defined in the Act as any person holding or acting in any public office. Earlier on, or before this, only officers above U5 were the ones obliged to declare. Now we're saying down even to the office messenger, for as long as you accrue salaries from the consolidated fund, you have to declare. Because indeed we have seen that even these low officers seem to be more endowed with the resources than even the high ones. You can find office messenger driving a saloon.
Minister Lokodo said branches of the code submitting false declarations, failing to submit and accepting the gifts that influence decision-making, all those are offences under the Leadership Code Act, and one shall have to appear before the tribunal for adjudication.
Of this code shall have to appear before the Leadership Code Tribunal for adjudication. And the penalties to be imposed by the Leadership Code Tribunal include, but not limited to, caution, payment of fine, demotion, dismissal from office, or even incarceration, imprisonment. I therefore take this opportunity to urge all Ugandans, especially public officers, to acquaint themselves with this law and to comply with their legal obligations. This is a law that's going to help us capture and recover our resources that have been swindled left and right. And then we shall be able to know who is a genuine leader living up to the measure of his or her due earnings, legal and accepted ways of getting resources.
The penalties to be imposed by the leaders Accord Tribunal include a caution, payment of a fine, demotion and dismissal from office.
Away from that, Uganda's representative in the East African Legislative Assembly in Tanzania, Mathias Kasamba, has died. Katende has more on this story.
Kasamba, who has also been working as a director of mobilization and cadre identification for the ruling National Resistance Movement (NRM), is said to have died on Tuesday at Nakasero Hospital in Kampala, where he had been admitted for 2 days. Mr. Emmanuel Maradombo, the NRM Director of Information, said on Tuesday evening, before adding that the 57-year-old man Kakuto MP was a stronger pillar in the NRM party. He had been admitted at Nakasero for 3 days after he was diagnosed with brain disease. Mr. Patrick Asekuro, the Chotara district chairperson, said Kasamba's death was a big blow to the party and that they were preparing to visit his family for burial arrangements in the East African Legislative Assembly's 4th Assembly in 2017-2022. Prior to that, he had served as Kakuto County MP in the 9th Parliament. Katende Chabasinga, reporting for TV Africa.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. Burundi freed some 1,300 prisoners on Monday at the beginning of a presidential pardon, which aims to free up overcrowded jails at a ceremony attended by President Evariste Ndayishimiye.
President Evariste Ndayishimiye, while attending a ceremony at a prison in Bujumbura, where almost 1,000 inmates left their cells, warned detainees against crimes and offenses committed that have crippled the economy. A total of 5,255 inmates, 40% of Burundi's prison population, will be released in the coming weeks. 3,000 will be eminently released and other 2,000 will have their sentences cut. The detainees include those arrested in 2015 following the demonstrations against the third term of the late President Nkurunziza. The yet-to-be-released prisoners thanked President Ndayishimiye and hoped that others will have the same chance.
Felix Tshisekedi, President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, is now in full control of a new government unveiled after a 4-month power struggle with predecessor Joseph Kabila after his picked prime minister received a resounding success in parliament.
The inauguration of the first government dubbed Union Sacrée took place on Monday, 26 April, with the new Prime Minister, Jean-Michel Sama Lukonde, received a resounding success with 410 MPs voting in favor out of 412 present. The day after the inauguration, the European Union and 17 countries of the international community, including the United States and France, issued a joint statement describing the inauguration of the first government of the Sacred Union as a historic opportunity to meet the expectations of the population. With backing from both the United States and European Union, Tshisekedi, 57, has a free hand to work on his priorities of slashing corruption and poverty that affects 2/3 of Congolese, as well as pacifying the more than 100 armed militias plaguing the country's east.
Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has called for elections and a return to dialogue after the extension of his mandate by 2 years has sparked the country's worst political violence in years.
The president, best known by his nickname as Farmajo, addressed the nation at around 1 a.m. local time after hours of anticipation, with Mogadishu on knife's edge as government troops and pro-opposition soldiers beefed up their opposition and civilians fled their homes. The rival sides exchanged gunfire on Sunday in an eruption of long-simmering tensions sparked by the delay of February elections and Farmajo's extension of his mandate earlier this month. The president said he would appear before Parliament on Saturday to gain their endorsement for the electoral process, calling on political actors to hold urgent discussions on how to conduct the vote.
The son of the late president and newly declared president of the Republic of Chad, Mahamat Idris Deby, said that Chad will continue to hold its ground and assume its responsibilities in the fight against terrorism and will respect all its international commitments.
Speaking during a televised address on Tuesday, the 37-year-old general, who heads the military council in power since the death of his father Idris Deby, while fighting FACT, Mahamat Idris Deby promised to organize an inclusive national dialogue within an 18-month transition period. According to a local NGO, the Chadian Convention for the Defense of Human Rights, 9 people were killed, 7 in Jamena and 2 others in Madur in southern Chad. Both the presidents of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi and Francis Emmanuel Macron, expressed their support for the nation's recent moves. Meanwhile, the opposition had decried the new regime as an institutional coup and warned France of meddling in Chadian affairs.
Moving on, the United States, a long-standing ally of Ethiopia, has called on the country to address the violence in Tigray region, which has been described as ethnic cleansing. We have more.
In a phone call with Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the United States Secretary of State Department spokesperson on Monday urged Ethiopia to address what he called an impending humanitarian disaster in Tigray, including rising fears of famine. The United States is pressing for troops from neighboring Eritrea, which first acknowledged a presence in Tigray earlier this month and promised a withdrawal, to pull out immediately in full and in a verifiable manner. According to Ethiopian government documents, of which one in particular dated April 23rd, Eritrean soldiers chased aid workers distributing food aid from various locations in Tigray and looted distribution points, frightening beneficiaries who fled. The United Nations said that 1.7 million people in Tigray were displaced at the end of March and that some have begun to die of hunger.
Away from that, ethnic Karen guerrillas said they captured a Myanmar army base on Tuesday near the border with Thailand in a morale boost for those opposing the military's takeover of the country's civilian government in February.
According to a guerrilla spokesman, a senior Thai official and a relief worker, Myanmar's military staged airstrikes several hours later on villages in territory controlled by the Karen forces. The fighting took place 3 days after a meeting of Southern Asian leaders to try to hammer out a plan to restore peace in Myanmar, where the military government has attempted to suppress widespread opposition to its rule through the use of lethal force. According to Padoso Tauni, the Karen nation National Union's head of Foreign Affairs. Casualty figures were not known, and there was no immediate comment from Myanmar's military government. Video shot from the Thai side of the border showed flames rising from the government position on the banks of the Saolin River amid the sound of heavy gunfire.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. Once again, you're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. Algeria is struggling with a deep economic crisis caused by the fall in oil revenues aggravated by the coronavirus pandemic, strikes, unemployment, soaring prices, and shortages of basic foodstuffs.
Ramadan this year is tough for Algerians who are hit by the impact of the pandemic as the value of the dinar diminishes and inflation on the surge combined with a rarity of basic foodstuffs such as cooking oil. Abdelghani, a fruit seller, explained that it is the responsibility of the farmer who sets the initial price and just takes a percentage of the merchandise depending on the produce. Algeria has been unable to reduce its reliance on food imports after more a decade of high oil prices. 70% of the country's food requirements are met by imports.
In our health news today, the first AstraZeneca COVID vaccine doses that were donated by France and delivered by the Global COVAX program, which aims to supply poorer nations with vaccine, arrived in Mauritania at the airport in the capital, Nouakchott. We have more on this report.
Mohamed Mahmoud El Mahmoud, Director of Strategic Information and Epidemiology Surveillance at Mauritania Health Ministry, said that they received a new batch of vaccines via COVAX, 31,200 doses provided by the global mechanism COVAX on Monday. President Emmanuel Macron announced the donation last Friday and called on more developed countries to follow suit at a time of intense competition for short supplies of vaccines as coronavirus infection counts are on the rise. Macron said France would donate at least 500,000 doses throughout to mid-June to the program, and the total could reach around 13 million from France alone by year-end. Mauritania has recorded more than 18,000 coronavirus cases and over 45 deaths.
And in sports, the encounter between Busoga United FC and UPDF FC on Tuesday at the FUFA Technical Center ended with no winner as the two sides settled for a goalless draw. Our reporter Katende has more.
The game was characterized with physical contests, and UPDF FC were forced into making two changes before the break. The best chance of the game fell to Ivan Wani, who went through one goal, but goalkeeper Eric Kibowa denied him with a fingertip save. On the other hand, it was Chitata who had scoring opportunities for UPDF and nearly broke the deadlock into 74th minute, but his strike hit upright. The result takes UPDF to 6th place on 31 points, while Busoga United FC remained static in 12th position on. Katende Chabasinga, reporting for TV Africa.
Now, before we end our news bulletin today, let's take a recap of our top stories. Government cautions workers to abide by standard operating procedures in commemoration of the World Day for Safety and Health. A new bill on wealth declaration issued. Burundi begins releasing prisoners in bid to stop overcrowding. And in sports, Busoga United UPDF contest ends in Bahrain stalemate. That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.
This is Africa, and that was the news.